A couple things from tonight's meeting I noticed. Number one, seems like a lot of focus on human resources. Number two, giving victims as many avenues to report sexual harassment, some anonymously. Your thoughts on how tonight went?
Yeah, I think what really showed tonight is that there's a trust barrier that is just completely shattered, that we have a hard time really finding policies and answers to at the moment, which we're going to continue to look for. But I mean, these are from the top down. What the struggle is, there's a lack of culture. It came up multiple times this evening that from the top, we've seen recommendations come to the top level leadership in this city and they be ignored. And those are the things that people who are working in this city see. They see through all of you that ultimately we have to look to address through policy. And what we learned tonight is that is not a simple question to answer. We heard that from multiple individuals, and it almost came down to a condition of if we want to have that third party ability, then we're going to have to give up something, and that's something that's really hard to wrestle right now.
Yeah, so the two big changes being proposed, the Independent Human Resources Board and the appointment of an ad hoc Inspector General. Mr. Beeler said that, he looked at Inspector General models in other cities, and he said it was hard to see what would work here. Do you have any concerns about how these recommendations could be implemented?
Not concerns. I'm optimistic. At Smart Indy, we also took the opportunity to look into some other cities to see what they actually put forward. And there's a wide range of models in similar cities our size or bigger. And even at our state level, we've had some conversations with individuals that can also justify the cost of their existence through finding waste, fraud, and abuse. So there's that avenue of it, but there's also the consideration of we have a similar office today, which is an Office of Audit and Performance. So is it even considering through ordinance what that office looks like? So I think there's a varying degree of how it looks. Even a temporary office is a consideration that we've had discussions on. So I think we have a lot of opportunity and we've had a lot of input. And something I'll continue to do is continue to work with individuals who have experience in this space to learn what's going to make best sense for the city.
Should the city create an independent office of an Inspector General to handle sexual harassment and other types of claims, just totally independent of the mayor, council, sort of like a 5-year appointment as opposed to a 4-year appointment, so that way they're not sort of beholden to any particular administration's whims?
Yeah, I think where we continue to run into the barrier on that is when we do anything external to the administration, in a sense, is that's when we start running into these privacies, whether it's Inspector General, whether it's human resource, and that's where we have to be cautious of the personal rights of individuals and their personal privacy in their individual self.
What do you think about the testimony you heard today from the crowd?
Yeah, I think it's a reminder to us that we need to make sure that we're talking to more folks. I made sure to put out emails, as I always do every weekend, to try and get input from folks. And it's something that I want to make sure that we remind everybody today is that it is hard to come in front of us and say this on TV in front of these cameras. You can say it in email. And I think that's the biggest thing I'd like to share to folks is if they have experienced things at the city, email us. If they had, because even having a town hall is going to be tough for people to come forward and say those things. But we're happy to take those in a private conversation. If there's recommendations, email them to us. I know my stuff is very public, michaelpaulhart.com. It's easy to find. Send us those if you want to have phone calls. I'm always available. And I think any one of these counselors would take a phone call on that.
Councilor Brown said something I thought was interesting. She talked about reporting, and people should have sort of way she seemed to, I don't want to say confused, but the issue was, how do we report? But you can't investigate something that's not being reported. Do you see what I'm trying to get at here?
I see what you're saying, and we can report on what's been reported, but we don't know what hasn't been said. And I think that's where we do have some reporting, it sounds like today, at a particular level, and that's what Councilor Beeler was discussing early on. But is that the actual fact? Because people aren't reporting at the full extent that they need to.
Where do we go from here? What's the timeline?
Yeah, and that's a great question. It's continued working, right? And I'm looking at Chairman Boots over there because we spend our Fridays at 11 o'clock together every single week. And I know other members of the working group spend countless hours outside of that time to bring information back to us. So where we're going to continue to go is look at what we've learned tonight, continue to work with these other organizations that we've met with tonight, and ideally get in touch with more people who have lived experiences. Where my personal opinion is that we do put forward policy. I don't want to speak on behalf of the group, but I'll speak on behalf of myself, say that I think there is room for us to look at all of this information we have. And I think we've done a really good job bipartisanly to come together and find out where we are short. And that's where I want to take this, is put it in our municipal code and make sure that what we've learned from this experience and this administration cannot be repeated in the future.
So is this informal working group of 6 counselors, is that still going to be meeting, or is that work being taken by this committee now?
As far as I understand, we're going to continue meeting.
Quick question. When you looked at the initial sort of anonymous reports, like started with 123, but it basically boiled down to like sort of one substantive report, does this make you feel better, feel worse, or your thoughts on, like I said, only out of the 123 anonymous reports so far, and granted it's only been a couple of months on top of it, only one actually turned out to be actually a real case of sexual harassment?
So I think it goes back to your earlier question of who's reporting, right? Because we can look at what's happened throughout the year, and I can pick 5 examples in my left hand of even individuals we haven't appointed because of cases that have come through HR. So, the one seems kind of odd. I mean, and maybe it is because it's only when they started reporting, but I know there's individuals that have come through your media outlets that have been reported on that add up to a lot more than one.
So I know that the initial list of recommendations was a draft. Is there a timeline for securing that final list? Is that more of a Boots question? What does that look like?
That's a Boots question. I don't have the timeline. I'm there to support Boots all the way through. If we're going to do this for 2 years, hopefully we're not doing it for 2 years, but if it takes we've done an AI commission for 2 years, and I think we're getting ready to wrap that up, but that's certainly a Boots question. I'm just here to support him wherever he needs help.
When you guys said you meet 11 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, not 11 o'clock at night on Friday.
Correct. Yes, in the morning. Yeah, in the morning.
Just checking. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Thank you.